Hi, this is Lucas with YOGABODY, and I'd like to talk to you today about hidden sugars. In our previous video, we already talked about why sugar can be so damaging for your health, but a lot of people don't realize just how prevalent sugar is. Sugary, starchy foods are everywhere. Why? Because they taste great, they're the most palatable, they're the cheapest, and they also last for an incredibly long time on the shelf. Things like these can last for years on the shelf. And so for those simple reasons, sugars are everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're at a restaurant, if you're on an airplane, if you're at a school or a university, or you might even be at a hospital. About 80% of your food is going to be sugars or starches of some kind, which for anyone who's worried about their waistline or their health is a huge, huge problem. So let's take a look at our first item here, which is orange juice. Now, orange juice has a lot of interesting properties. If you have orange juice with the pulp, there's a lot of great fiber, there's a lot of vitamin C, obviously, but mostly, for the most part, it's sugar. Now, a lot of people will see this and say, hey, but that's bottled orange juice. I just drink fresh orange juice. Fresh orange juice is better, there's no question. It's more bioavailable nutrients. Top grading your food is always a great idea. But essentially, the problem with both fresh and bottled orange juice is the same, and that's that there's just a lot of sugar. Oranges are an interesting food, orange juice much less so. So I'm gonna flip around, take a look at the label. Looks like we have about 30 grams of sugar per serving. 30 grams is a lot of sugar. If you think of your average person is gonna wanna eat about 150 to maybe 200 grams of sugar per day, this is a significant portion of that just with one drink. Now, to complicate things more, people will usually not just have orange juice for breakfast, they'll usually have a few other things. A really common one is healthy cereal. Now, when you go down the cereal aisle in the grocery store, you obviously know that the sugar cereals are sugary, right? There's marshmallows and they have sweets and they're frosted flakes and all these kinds of silly kids foods. You already know that those are loaded with sugar. So what I did today is I bought the healthiest looking one I could find on the grocery store shelf. And let's see what I got here. I got muesli with fruit. We have whole grain wheat. We have wheat germ. It says no added sugars. 30% is fruit. We got high in fiber. Looks super healthy. It looks disgusting, which usually means it's healthy, right, in theory. But I'm gonna flip it over to the back and I see that every serving of 100 grams has 60 grams of carbohydrates, 60, so double that of my orange juice. And that's for 100 grams. Most people eat about 150 to 200 grams, so that means they're getting over 100 grams of sugar from their breakfast cereal, stacking another 30 grams for their orange juice, and they're starting off their day with a big peak in blood sugar, which is no good for your energy, no good for your health, and no good for your waistline. Okay, let's move into another item here. I have a multigrain baguette, right? It's not just whole grain, it's multigrain. I got all kinds of grains on here, nuts and seeds. This thing looks really, really healthy. The problem with this, again, is very similar to my muesli. It has about 75 grams of carbohydrates for this whole grain baguette. Now, are there some B vitamins in there? Yes. Is there some fiber in there? Yes. But if you are eating whole grain bread for the B vitamins or the fiber, you're making a big mistake, because there's much better options that are not gonna screw up your blood sugar. Okay, now let's move on to some lunch foods, or why don't we start with the snack food? So here's a really common snack food, and what we have here is sugar-free biscuits. And this is something somebody might keep in their drawer at the office, and they're thinking, this is healthy, it's a really great source of fiber. We have sunflower seed oil, it's made with all natural ingredients. But what happens is, again, this is in the diet food or health food aisle at the grocery store or your health food store. When they remove some of these other things, they end up boosting a lot of bad things. So I'm gonna flip over, take a look. We got 75 grams of sugar per serving. And a lot of people will eat 2 servings, so you can easily eat 75, 100, even 150 grams of sugar, an entire day's worth of sugar, just while you're sitting at your desk, trying to get over the 11 a.m. or the 3 p.m. hump of energy that you felt from that sugary breakfast. So, huge problem. The thing that's really confusing about this is these are always labeled as health foods, right? They're sugar-free, they're fat-free, they're whole grain, but they're so sugary that they really screw up your blood sugar. One last example, We don't need to beat this to death. I think you get the idea, but this is whole grain pasta. And again, when we see the brown color, we assume it's healthy, we assume there's loads of fiber, and yeah, there's a little bit more fiber. It's also more inflammatory, but let's forget about that for a moment. I'm gonna flip around to the back, and your average serving has 70 grams of sugar, of carbohydrates per serving. Now people will say, oh yeah, but that's whole wheat, those are complex carbohydrates. Well, use the blood glucose monitor I showed you how to use in the first video and measure the impacts of complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates, and you'll find that the difference is very, very small. And so this whole wheat pasta is gonna spike my blood sugar after dinner and again create this up and down roller coaster that is a total disaster. So all of these are examples of hidden sugars that are extremely common. When you walk through the grocery store, all the dry, crispy snacks, sugar-free, fat-free, all of those foods tend to be really, really high in hidden sugars, which are really, really bad for your health. Now, one big important disclaimer here is I'm not saying that all sugar is bad. I'm not saying you should never drink orange juice or never eat muesli. That's not the point. The point is that the poison is in the dose, and most people are accidentally overdosing on sugar at every single meal. They're eating an entire day's worth of sugar in one meal, and that is what is creating metabolic disorders. That's what's leading to weight gain, that's what's leading to premature aging and all kinds of other issues. So sugar is not bad for you per se, but when you look at what's happening day in, day out, meal in, meal out, it's sugar on sugar on sugar, which very quickly, in a matter of months or years, leads to metabolic disorders and massive problems for your health. In the next video, I'm going to share with you the good news, a simple plan for success for beating the sugar industrial complex, taking back your health, and having the most vital and healthy year of your life. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I look forward to chatting with you very soon.